Welcome back. You're watching our continuing coverage of the War for Thrones. What we want to do right now, I'm getting word that Mulayam Singh Yadav, the angry old man of the Samajwadi Party, although when we interviewed him yesterday, he said he isn't angry and that things are good, although his actions speak louder than his words. He hasn't been campaigning anywhere outside Jaswantnagar, where he went for Shivpal Yadav, and in Lucknow, where he campaigned for his daughter-in-law Aparna. But what I want to do right now, it's 11:31. While we wait for Mulayam to arrive, let me take you through some of the comments made by the various leaders who've spoken to India today since this morning.
मैं ये कह सकता हूँ, पहले चरण में, दूसरे चरण में और तीसरे लगभग आधा हो जाएगा चुनाव। जब आप शाम को वोट डाल करके खत्म करने के बाद रिपोर्ट मांगेंगे तो लगभग आधा उत्तर प्रदेश का चुनाव हो चुका होगा। मैं ये कह सकता हूँ, जिस तरीके से पहले चरण में समाजवादी आगे रही, दूसरे चरण में समाजवादी आगे है, ये तीसरा चरण भी है जिसमें समाजवादी पार्टी आगे रहेगी। मैं ये कह सकता हूँ, समाजवादी पार्टी सबसे आगे रहेगी और सरकार एक बार दोबारा समाजवादी पार्टी और कांग्रेस की उत्तर प्रदेश में बनेगी।
कांग्रेस और सपा का गठबंधन एक है, सरकार एक बनेगी और ऐतिहासिक जीत होगी। चुनाव हो जाएगा तब आप देखेंगे कि समाजवादी पार्टी एक है और समाजवादी पार्टी का परिवार एक है और सब बहुत मजबूत हैं। कोई भी अगर षड्यंत्र किया होगा, कोई भी जितने भी लोग होंगे, उनका षड्यंत्र पे यदि हाथ होगा तो सबक सबको सिखाना चाहिए।
बहुजन समाज पार्टी नंबर 1 पर रहेगी और बहुजन समाज पार्टी की अकेले ही अपने बलबूते पर सरकार बनने के लिए जा रही है और कम से कम 300 के करीब सीटें बहुजन समाज पार्टी जीतने के लिए जा रही है। और ये बात मैं इसलिए कह रही हूँ, कोई सपा, कांग्रेस, बीजेपी की तरह हवा हवाई नहीं, बल्कि जो अभी तक वोट पड़ा है उसके आधार पर जो मेरी चुनावी जनसभाएं हो रही हैं, जिस तरीके से भीड़ उमड़ रही है मुझे सुनने के लिए, तो उसके आधार पर मैं आपको कह रही हूँ कि उत्तर प्रदेश में बीएसपी की अकेले ही अपनी सरकार बनने के लिए जा रही है और इस चुनाव में बीएसपी 300 के करीब सीटें जीतने के लिए जा रही है।
आज चूंकि यहाँ पर मतदान है, इसलिए मैं मुद्दों की कोई चर्चा नहीं करना चाहूंगा, मुद्दों की चर्चा नहीं करना चाहूंगा। इतना ही मैं कहूंगा, सभी से अपील करूंगा कि वह आज के दिन वह सभी स्वयं मतदान करें और अन्य लोगों को भी मतदान के लिए प्रेरित करें, कि लोकतंत्र का यह महापर्व है, इसमें सबको शिरकत करनी चाहिए। केवल क्लियर मेजॉरिटी ही नहीं बल्कि एब्सोल्यूट मेजॉरिटी से भारतीय जनता पार्टी यहाँ पर अपनी सरकार बनाएगी।
भारत की धरती में जन्म लेने का भाग्य और यहाँ पर अपना मत देने का अधिकार, ये ऐसी गर्व की बात है जिसको मैं जन्म जन्म तक इसको प्राप्त करना चाहूंगी। मेरे साथ लखनऊ के मेयर डॉक्टर दिनेश शर्मा भी खड़े हुए हैं। उत्तर प्रदेश में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार प्रचंड बहुमत से बनने जा रही है। सारी पार्टियां, सपा, बसपा, कांग्रेस, ये 150 सीटों तक सिमट करके रह जाएंगी और भारतीय जनता पार्टी 250 से भी ज्यादा सीटों से अपना बहुमत लेके आएगी।
That's Uma Bharti, Minister in the Modi cabinet, speaking to India today after having gone and cast her vote. In the last part of this broadcast, as we wait for Mulayam Singh Yadav to come and cast his mandate, the fact that he's in the fray just on the sidelines. You know, there's very few people coming to his home, asking for tickets, asking for advice. It just seems as if the whole momentum has shifted. And he's been putting up a brave face. He hasn't spoken against his son publicly, but deep inside his heart, it must be hurting very badly. Shivam Vij?
Yes, Rahul, but I think Mulayam Singh Yadav sort of gave up after the debacle at the Election Commission, and he was thereafter threatening to damage Akhilesh by leaving the Samajwadi Party, joining the Lok Dal, speaking against Akhilesh. He did make one statement calling Akhilesh anti-Muslim, but I think what happened was that Akhilesh Yadav went and appeased his father by accepting some of his demands. That is why you see Gayatri Prajapati getting a ticket against Akhilesh's wishes. That is why you see his step-sister-in-law Aparna Yadav getting a ticket when Akhilesh ideally wouldn't have liked that. Remember that in this controversy or the family fight, the name of Mulayam Singh Yadav's second wife Sadhana Gupta has also been used by the Akhilesh camp. So I think the Akhilesh camp made some compromises to appease Mulayam Singh Yadav and basically silence him. I think, however, that Mulayam Singh Yadav and Shivpal might break their silence after today or after March 11. But it's possible they might do it after today as well, when Shivpal's election is over in Jaswant Nagar and Aparna Yadav's in Lucknow.
Think that he could go rogue, he could turn against the SP, because that's not the sense that we picked up when we spoke to, we spent about 2.5 hours with Mulayam Singh Yadav. Javed was with me at that time. Javed, this general perception that here's a man who's lost the plot, he no longer is in full control of what he's saying, that's not necessarily true. When we were chatting with him, his answers were sharp, he knew what he was saying, and also, now I can't tell you what he said off record, but I can tell you in some instances what he was saying without the camera was different from what he was saying on the camera. So here's a man who's in control of what he's saying. He's not this old fogey who's totally lost the track of what he's saying. Javed, your sense, Shivam suggesting maybe he could go rogue after voting today. Do you think that will be the case, or do you think he'll stay with the SP message?
Look, Rahul, based on our interactions and based on whatever I've heard from people around him, I'd be very surprised if he now tries to scupper whatever little is left for it for the Samajwadi Party. He's kept his powder dry, and he will continue to do so till at least the 11th of March. Then afterwards, depending on the results, he will then decide what to say. But I'd be very, very surprised. I disagree with my friend Shivam Vij that he and Shivpal could, at least Mulayam Singh, I'm quite sure, will not do anything to undermine overtly his son and the Samajwadi Party. I have with me Sharad Pradhan. He's been sitting in this 30-degree sun, and I want to bring him in. Do you believe, what is Mulayam's state of mind, and do you believe that Mulayam at some stage could break away and make things difficult for his son?
I don't think. You know, all along, if you look at the past 3-4 months when this feud was at its peak, you know, Mulayam has somehow, wittingly or unwittingly, never allowed any harm to be caused to the son. Because at one point of time, it was very convenient for him to have eased the son out, which he did not do. Eventually, when he had to take a call, he eased out both the brothers, the cousin Ram Gopal as well as Shivpal. Eventually, Ram Gopal got back into the scene because of Akhilesh, and Shivpal remained out. So, you know, when it comes to that, Mulayam will go with the son. And, you know, no matter how much he keeps on cursing his son off and on, that has been his behavior ever since, you know, for the past several months. Mulayam has been, whenever they like they say, you know, he has old age problems because of which he's very forgetful. So sometimes he does that. But let me tell you, Shivpal Yadav, irrespective of what he might be claiming to do after March 11, he has created quite a suspense by saying the wait for March 11. You know, it's very evident that if Akhilesh sails through with a reasonable majority, then Shivpal's career is sealed.
Okay, well, there's something that I need to ask you. Yeah. Do you believe that they have enough wherewithal, enough ammunition left with them to harm Akhilesh? Because from whatever we've seen in the past few months, the ground within the Samajwadi Party has shifted from under not just Shivpal's feet, but even from under Mulayam's feet.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right, Javed. And Mulayam knows it probably, because you see the way Mulayam has been completely deserted by his supporters. Today, Mulayam is a lonely man. There is nobody. If you go and see, there are no queues now outside his office, outside his residence. You know, in politics, everybody has his phase, and Mulayam's days are now, you know, he's set to remain a patriarch of the party.
But do you think
and Shivpal, let me tell you, will not, all this myth that was created around Shivpal, that he holds control over the party rank and file, has been exposed. Because the way people have gravitated towards Akhilesh, because ultimately people gravitate towards power.
Okay, one more question. Do you believe that Mulayam now realizes that his time is over, or does he still believe that he's good enough for one final shot, and that maybe after March 11th, things will settle down and he'll be back as Samajwadi chief?
I think his realization has dawned that his
innings are
over. His innings are over. Yet, you know, there are people around him who keep pumping him because their dependence is completely on him. You know, Shivpal, the only way Shivpal can stand to do anything, whatever little, is on the strength of Mulayam's shoulders. Likewise, you know, the other lobby, which was the anti-Mulayam and anti-Akhilesh lobby, in which Amar Singh and others were involved.
So Rahul, while Mulayam may have reasons to feel hurt, reasons to feel disappointed. Sharad and myself both tend to believe that for now he will keep his powder dry. It's unlikely that he'll do anything.
He will keep his powder dry. There's in fact very little that he can do. But one of the things he did say in this interview we did on record, and I can only comment on what he's saying on record, is that he believes that this alliance helps the Congress more than it helps the Samajwadi Party. And he's also built the party bottom up. Therefore, he can't even begin to imagine how Akhilesh can give 100+ seats to the Congress. He said, these are 100 of my people who could have fought, and you've gone and revived the Congress.
Rahul, I must say that on this question of Mulayam Singh, how he will treat Akhilesh Yadav, I think we can go by history. Father's love for son, King Dashrath died pining for his son Ram. Akbar Badshah, Jahangir revolted against him, but ultimately on his dying bed, he coronated Jahangir. So ultimately, no matter what the bitterness between the father and the son, I find it very unlikely that Netaji will openly go against Akhilesh and do anything to harm him substantially.
He hasn't done that. Prashant Jha, your sense on this as we come to the last part of our broadcast this morning? He can go rogue. He can make life difficult. Like Advani ji put out these letters slamming what was happening in the BJP. Mulayam Singh Yadav can do that. He hasn't done it so far. He's been very, very careful. Is that the way it will stay, or do you think after Jaswant Nagar and Lucknow elections are over, in the 4th, 5th and 6th phase, he could go rogue?
Rahul, I think you, because you've met him, have greater access and insight into his mind than I do, but I would go with your judgment, which is that I don't think he will do anything till 11th March. But I do want to say two things. One is that, you know, this point about 100, the fact that he feels that Congress was given more than its share, many people in the SP feel that. And reporting from Unnao a few days ago, I did see exactly this, that the alliance is not working on the ground in pockets. The explicit aim of the alliance was to consolidate the Muslim vote. That may happen to some extent. But what we are also seeing is that in those 100 seats, the synergy between the SP and the Congress is lacking completely. So whether it will translate into gains is something to be really seen.
Further from Prashant.
Words, yes, quickly, because one of the things that Prashant talks about is Shivam, Muslim consolidation. One of the things that we picked up, especially when you see these very aggressive images of young Muslim youth out on the streets on their motorcycles in support of the Gathbandhan, that has its own effect on others who watch. Then there is this fear that all these people will come to power. That has its own dynamic. In fact, I know on good authority that Gathbandhan managers sent out multiple messages to Muslim youngsters saying, don't indulge in any aggressive exhibitionism. Keep it calm. Go and vote, do your job, but no need to show it. So that's a big factor.
Rahul, I think that Muslims would largely have voted Akhilesh anyway. I completely agree with Mulayam Singh Yadav that the alliance was unnecessary. It has damaged Akhilesh's image. The alliance has caused a clear Muslim Yadav consolidation, which is actually preventing the SP from getting upper caste and Hindu votes. It is helping the BJP in that sense. And without the alliance, I think Akhilesh would have done better. What you're saying about the Muslim youth.
I want to make a quick comment before I take a break. Yes, sir.
Now, you are undermining two factors. One, that split in the Samajwadi Party had de-enthused the Samajwadi Party supporters. That is, de-enthusing the Samajwadi Party supporters makes impact on the vote. Second, Muslim consolidation cannot be like in the past, because BSP has given 97 candidates, so they are divided. They are certainly making a strategic voting against the BJP, that wherever the BJP can defeat BJP, but that leads to counter democratic polarization. I think opposition of the communalism is not a counter communal polarization. If Hindus are opposing the communal politics of the Muslim politics, that is a democratic polarization.
Okay.
And you always call democratic polarization as a counter communal polarization. That is wrong.
And as I said, the BJP, I mean, if you leave aside Prime Minister Modi and what he's saying in his speech, he's keeping the message straight. Any other leader you listen to is making comments which makes it very clear that they're trying to appeal to the Hindu identity. They make no bones about it. That's their principal attempt, and whether it succeeds or not will frankly determine what happens in Uttar Pradesh. We're getting these images from Saifai, where Sadhna Gupta has just gone in to vote. She is Mulayam's second wife. And these images are from the SP Bash. And remember, Saifai and anybody who drives through is a bit like Lambi in Punjab. where it's a whole different world. It's like a 5-star village. You've got guest houses which can compete with any fancy, swanky 5-star hotel in Delhi. It truly is stunning. People love it on the ground, but others are very upset, very envious of the fact that so much effort has been made in Saifai, whereas other parts of Uttar Pradesh remain neglected. In fact, there was this one instance where, and this is very interesting, where one actress who I shan't name, but who's, say, a 90s star, had come to dance in Saifai. And over the years, people in Saifai had got so spoiled with the kind of contemporary Bollywood actors who were coming and dancing around them, that they said, nahi yaar, ye kis budiya ko leke aa gaye. They didn't want her. She was a 90s star, very famous name. I can't name her at all. But they were saying, ye kisko leke aa gaye, kisi young wali ko lana chahiye. So they're spoiled. They're spoiled. And that's the way it's been. The question is, will they back the SP fully, or will that vote get split because of the unspoken dissent of Shivpal Yadav? That will determine what happens in the third phase, and that will determine who holds the edge at the end of the halfway stage of polling. I hope you've enjoyed. We've been at it for about 3 hours now. I hope you've enjoyed our coverage of the UP election. We have a lot to talk about. But I want to thank our guests, Sharad Pradhan, Javed Ansari, Prashant Jha, Shivam Vij, for joining us from Uttar Pradesh with their analysis from what they've picked up on the ground. Ashok Lahiri, his laptop, pulling out very interesting trends. Remember, the one thing that stays with me, and I hope it stays with you as well, is that Uttar Pradesh was 97% of India's per capita, which is the average UPite was 97% as rich as the average Indian in the 1950s. That's now come down to 40%. The average UP wala is now 40% as rich as the average Indian. UP is India's big black hole. Fixing UP lies at the heart of fixing the India story. You fix in UP, you can grow 2 to 3% faster than you grow at present. One quick programming note before I leave. Thanks, Rakesh ji, for having you also in this broadcast. Very interesting to see you pitch equally, sometimes for the BSP, sometimes for the SP, wanting them to do well too. That's also interesting coming from an RSS man. This 9 p.m. tonight, there it is. Akhilesh Yadav on a cycle ride with me across the Gomti. This is his pet showcase development project. It is stunning. You know, you can say it's only happened in one small pocket. This is a very, very beautiful riverfront. You've got dancing fountains, you've got movies. I get you this interview at 9 p.m. tonight. War for Thrones, Akhilesh Yadav like never before. Bhaiya ji on his cycle. You know, he even joked. He said, Rahul, come with a proper cycle. When I asked him for this interview, he said, Rahul, come with a proper cycle. Last time your cycle was punctured. I didn't have the heart to tell him that it was your cycle the last time which was punctured. I was riding your cycle. But anyway, this interview coming up at 9 p.m. You start watching it, I promise you, till it gets over, you can't finish. Okay, no, I'm not taking a break yet because I'm just being told that Mulayam Singh Yadav has just come. Okay, so Mulayam Singh Yadav has just arrived in Saifai. So our breakfast break is held up for a while. Here he is, the angry old man of the Samajwadi Party, the patriarch of the SP, Bhaiya ji's father, Mulayam Singh Yadav, coming now to Saifai to vote. It will be interesting to see what he has to say at the end of it all. He hasn't campaigned very much, few limited interventions, one in Jaswant Nagar, one in Lucknow for his daughter-in-law, Aparna. Mulayam Singh Yadav going into vote. He'll be back in about a few minutes after having cast his votes. That's when he'll speak to journalists. We hope to be back before that. Thank you so much for tuning into our continuing coverage of UP's War for Thrones.